So, greetings, folks. Coin here, or Swirling Vortex, or Steven. You could call me any of those three things. And welcome back to another episode of Elden Ring Reforged. It has been a little bit since we've last played. How's everyone doing today? Last time I believe we did some stuff up near Altus Plateau. We also attempted to do some bosses again, and that went well. As in, I didn't make any progress on any of them, because Elden Ring is hard. Today, we're going to be dedicating all of our time, or most of our time, like 95% of our time, to making attempts on Fortissax. And if we get down Fortissax, then we'll move to those Dunderheads in the Oriza main, like, Hero's Grave. Well, that's my goal today, is to try to get those two absolutely colossal boss undertakings down. Now, we are on patch 0.76c. And of course, now will be a good time to plug my Discord. I do have a Discord. Guess what I also do in my Discord? I follow the Elden Ring Reforged Discord server. It's this lovely little thing right here. And because I follow it on my server, I have a channel dedicated to the stuff. And it posts here. People have it muted, but understandably so. So, starting from version 7.6, that was about the last time. We were in patch 0.75. Yeah, version 0.75. Version 0.76 updates the Codex of the All-Knowing. So now, you know, even if we miss a boss, it won't work for the bosses we've already killed, of course, but we will at least get a paltry entry that we can then, you know, sort of use for the Codex. Like, if I want to go back and grind that stuff later, I can do it. I don't have to change much. Most importantly, there are 4 starting classes that have been added. They are inspired by the Japanese Elden Ring tabletop RPG. The information is here, of course, but since that's a little hard to read and I don't know if people can read it, you know, we've got a dexterous chemist to the royal capital. We have a sharpshooter who defected from a demigod army. We have a gladiator and a guide. So, some existing classes were also adjusted to fit with these new choices, so it might be worth previewing all the classes again and just see if anything has changed. Some other stuff to note that we'll have to deal with later. When we get ready to deal with Ronnie's quest line again, after we've, you know, collected all of the star shards, star fragments, and take them to the like moon gazing grounds near the Carrion Royal Manor, we will have to deal with the Baleful Shadow. That's the next thing we have to do. It's a boss now. Yay. Lightning got an update. And then there's just a bunch of, like, bug fixes, including Gideon, the packaged folder, or packaged program that comes with recent versions of Elden Ring Reforged. You just, open up Gideon once you've downloaded and extracted your Elden Ring Reforged like mod download. There will be a Gideon.exe. Open the exe, check whether, or there will be a prompt that shows up. It's like, do you want to change your prompts to the PS4 controls? Hit yay or nay on that, depending on what kind of controller you use. And then, bingo, bango, bongo, Monkey is your uncle. You should be good to go. Gideon takes care of the rest. Let's see. That's pretty much it. Everything else is oh, right. So in version like 0.75, enemies had like new scaling applied to them. That's been put into an option now. So the scaling option was enemies scale with you no matter where you go. They're the same level no matter what. Um, People really didn't like that being forced upon them. So after enough feedback, they put that in a They put that in a option. We'll try turning it on and turning it off, depending on whether or not I think things are too easy. Other than that, not much else. That was the other big update out of 0.76. 0.7.6, excuse me. The rest of these are mostly just bug fixes. There's not really anything else to talk about. The only really tiny thing I should probably mention is now we'll have an indicator when we can actually level up. Yay! No more tracking soul status. You'll know you can level up. By the same way you'll know if you can, enhance your flask. You'll know because there will be a gold pulsing, indicator next to it. That takes care of our patch preview. Let's move on to what we actually want to do. So, starting from the beginning. Oh, well, okay, it wraps back around. Nope. Show attributes. I don't think any of the attributes have changed. You used to be able to get text descriptions of these. Okay, well, let's overview the new stats then, and take a look. So, this was our starting class. We're the Wretch. That's what we did. For the Perfumer, if we look, we have High Arcane. Good. Lots of our stuff requires it. We appear to have a whip. And some sort of, like, shield. Probably some small buckler that increases aromatic effects. That would probably be the guess here. Then other than that, we have high dex and average stats everywhere else, with maybe low faith. We appear to also have a cookbook in our possession. And we also appear to have a set of perfuming tools. I do not know what that last item icon is on the bottom there. We move over to the Scout. Scout has a crossbow, but I am told that this particular one is supposed to be well versed in either. Really meant to be using a crossbow with the starting class. Yeah, average stats all the way around. That's nice. Gladiator does what you'd expect. High strength, high dex, high endurance, middling vigor, and decent arcane, which I guess is interesting. Probably mean, yeah. So you're not going to be casting spells for a start, and you really can't take that much damage to start with either. Again, this is just ultimately, the real thing to note is just, this is what your starting gear is. That's really what a class pairs down to. What is the initial stat spread you have? What are the gear items you possess, if anything? And then that's it. Over time, you are free to adjust this any particular way. You're going to have an easier time playing toward the initial distribution's strengths rather than their weaknesses, but you can pump intelligence and faith into this thing if you want. Or same is true with the Perfumer. You can totally make them cast healing spells and support incantations if you want. It just takes a lot of work, and you have to know where to go to get the items. Last one we have is a support cleric. The guide, they have high faith. They have okay dexterity. really good vigor in mind. And they appear to have, I think that's an Erd steel dagger in their left hand. Not sure. It doesn't tell me the handedness of the items they get. I'm trying to think if there's anything that was adjusted since then. I think we pick one of these and then the text description is what changes. So let's just, I don't know, pick the Vagabond and we should be able to switch to it. Alright. Yep, sure do. So for the record, a dexterous chemist of the royal capital finds fortitude and miracle perfumes and beats back opponents with a whip. Makes sense. The scout, who defected from a demigod's army in the Shattering, capable with bows and crossbows. They're way more capable with a crossbow than a bow. Lots of good bows require high dex, but that's fixable. An underdog of society forced to risk their life for entertainment, using fists as lethal weapons. So they have a cestus in their right hand. Of two-handing the cestus just gives you a pair of them. Really cool stuff. The guide, a hopeful of Erd Tree faith, eager to guide fellow tarnished toward grace, well versed in healing incantations. And we have the same keepsakes. There are no new keepsakes. Seer ostracized for inauspicious prophecies. Channels damning visions to conjure scorching flame. I think that's different. Church spy, adept at covert operations, equally adept with a sword as they are with their incantations. I think that's the same. Alright. We can abandon this character. We don't need to pick a starting thing. All I wanted to do was just make sure that we previewed the class. There you go. Now, let's return back to the Deep Root Depths. So, here in the Deep Root Depths, we're going to be trying our darndest to get on the level with dear old Fortissax. Now, for those of you that know, how I perform on bosses generally, I don't like to talk during the attempts, so I'm going to do my best to try to talk between the attempts and a little before we get started. Today is going to be a lot more focused on today's going to be a lot more focused on like gameplay than commentary, because I will hardly have none to spare. I won't have any to spare, really, when I get down to it. See time of all sorceries, but consumes additional FP. I wonder. I can use the staff. And we're not exactly going to be in the market to, we're probably, if we take a hit, we die, really, is probably the short answer. I should probably also, I didn't even think about this, but I probably should put Quick Step on this staff, just in case, but we can do that later. Right now, let's assume we don't even need to worry about the weapon art, and let's just focus on our stats. So, before we begin, first, I want to discuss the overall build. So, the build I have chosen is based on the spreadsheet data we used to have when fighting Lich Dragon Fortissax. It is based on the weaknesses that he had at the time. So, i.e., he didn't resist and wasn't vulnerable to magic damage. So as you can see, we have a staff that deals magic damage. We have the best staff in the entire game for this purpose. It may be necessary to forego the ice sorceries completely. If that is the case, then luckily for us, we have another set of armor we can switch to. If I have to switch from the cold stuff to something else, and as long as I'm using Azur's staff I can do this, then what we'll probably do is try to find... We can either go for the Queen's Crescent Crown, or we can go for the Spellblade set. And the Spellblade set... Oh, wait, nope, never mind. It's Glintstone Sorcery skills, not actual Glintstone sorceries. Never mind. I'm really struggling to come up with what else to say. I guess what I could say is we will have a plan. We have a plan for dealing with Fortissax. I've done as much as I can to kit the character out for power as much as I can, while also bearing in mind minimum requirements. And if I want to turn back to a status build, I can do that. I have the faith necessary to use it. I hope that will not be necessary. If it becomes necessary, well then we'll have to have a tier of some kind, won't we? That's okay. So, our goal is to get through as much of Phase 1 as possible. Phase 1 is tough. Also, an addendum on... So I've leveled Vigor. I got it up from 28 to 33. 31, I think, before the Great Rune is being applied. I could summon the Mimic, the Mimic tier. Do you know what happens in the fight? It gets crushed. It doesn't know the wherewithal of what to do with the flasks. I can tell you, even if my Vigor were 40 or 45, the AI would not know what to do with this fight. It would be unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I've tried it off camera. That's how I know. So, unfortunately, it won't help us it really won't help us to have the Mimic tier out. So we're going to do this by ourselves. I think I've said everything I've wanted to say in terms of like boss weaknesses and stuff. When going through Phase 1, most of the attacks are self-explanatory. Most of the time, you have a choice. You can either move further away, or if you think you're going to be too slow, you're going to get under the guy's legs, and you're going to wait until he tries to slam the ground, or he starts summoning lightning, and then you have to get out. Fortissax is like a raid boss, ladies and gentlemen. He has a ton of different mechanics. He's scaled up to Farum Azula, the lands of crumbling Farum Azula. And that means you need to have 200 in stats. 200 in rune level. We're at level 161. We're 40 points off from maximum. Whatever that is. I hope 99s in something aren't required. I hope 40 vigor isn't required, but it may very well be. Now, Phase 2 is where things get interesting. Fortissax doesn't exactly add too many new attacks to his arsenal. He's got that rolling spin from flight that he'll do. We know how to dodge that. He will occasionally do a big vertical slash. That's the one I have a tough time dodging. We'll have to determine whether or not I need like specific strats for this. And then once we take our break and whatever, I have an important life update that I feel I need to give you guys, or else none of my future decisions make any sense. But for the time being, I've ambled at you enough. I've talked at you enough. If you mostly want, like, challenge run style attempts, this is what you're going to get for the next 40 minutes. I'll see you guys on the other side of, well, entering the deathbed dream. Nope. I ran out of flasks. That was a really good attempt. I had a couple of really sloppy errors, mostly pertaining to that exact move that I don't know how to dodge, and I don't know what the answer to that dodge actually is. I don't know. I don't know if the answer is accept that I'm getting hit and just deal with it, or if the answer is I need to roll in the direction that he's slashing so that I actually dodge the blow. I don't know. Dodging to the left, like dodging away from the strike doesn't work. That's the one thing I do know. And it's going to be tough to fight the instinct of, oh, I'm forgetting about rune arc, so I'll have to pop that during the fight. Wrong. Really? Yeah, honestly, I needed to not. I just needed to kill myself after that attempt, after the first mistake. I needed to just give that up. I really can't be making errors at the level of difficulty this boss is. Similar to raid bosses in World of Warcraft, you just gotta know when to wipe it up and move on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should talk about. So, really, I think the key to fighting any difficult boss in Elden Ring. I know, I make it sound like it's, a panacea for all your woes. It is not. It is not a panacea. This is just good advice. Try once you know how a boss works, like go ahead and discard your first few attempts. Don't even attempt to try to beat the boss. If you think you can do it, great. But I recommend just going ahead and storing what resources you can, like in rune arcs, in poppable runes. Do what you gotta do, and then make throwaway attempts. Just learn how the boss works. Purposefully do different stuff. Don't even try to fight the boss until you have a good idea on when the phase transitions are. So like when we get ready to do Melania, that's going to be a whole different process, because there is code that says do this thing 1% of the time, anytime. That's waterfowl dance, by the way. There's code that says at 80% start inject this routine. Start doing it. Learn when your phase transitions are. If your boss is a phase 2, well then, and you have to fight phase 1 to get through it, okay, that's a little harder. But the same general rule still applies. Create throwaway attempts for yourself where the resources are low and all you focus on is fighting the boss. That's all you do. Once you do that, I'm at that point now where really it's just one thing holding me back, along with like small gameplay errors that cascade into bigger gameplay errors. Once you in fact are at that stage, that's when you can start milling resources toward this. If I have to, I will grind up more materials for rune arcs. I have plenty. And most of the attempts take like 10-ish minutes to do. So I could just focus on getting into the right position, which is presumably not toward the center of the arena. You want to begin moving left almost immediately. Really? Alright. I guess I ran too much off to the side. Nope. So I got hit with the after pulse. That's what happened. So do I jump? Is that a... Like, I'm getting hit and falling over. That's gotta be a shockwave. That's the only thing I can think to do other than trying to deflect the darn thing. And if I attempt to deflect the darn thing, I'm not going to be able to do that because that's a spell. Oh, I mean, you can deflect spells, but you're deflecting the spell bullet, which accomplishes the same thing as taking the hit in terms of a tempo standpoint. Yes, you might deflect it perfectly. You could also fail the timing immensely. As you can plainly see, I know what I'm doing. It's just that single move that I'm like, don't go over there. That brings you to the royal capital. It's that single move where I'm like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? If on break, I'll try to like look up the move and try to help myself get an edge on that fight, because I do not know how to dodge that, like, at all. It's insane, because I feel like the answer is it's so simple. I'm going to try jumping to the left. I don't think it's going to work. Get in position first. I suppose if you're brave, you could, Alright, yep, get away. I suppose if you're brave, you could have DPS during that opening, but I don't like my chances during that. I'm allowed one, it looks like. Medium range breath. Nope. I should not have DPS during that. Should have just ran. When you've got that lightning bolt, like static charge building on you, you're afforded one quick glintstone pebble, and most of the time you're not even really afforded that. That was a gameplay error on my part. I should not have been casting spells during that. This is what rate progression is like, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, granted, the stakes are a lot more simplified in an MMO like this, but it more or less translates to the same thing. Don't stand in bad. Respect the boss mechanics. You know, if it's a game like I don't know, say ESO, then respect your role. If you're a damage dealer, don't try to tank. Don't make your tank have to work 3 times as hard because you did something. If you're a healer, make sure you're in tune with when you expect, you know, damage output to be high or to be low, and also observe the mechanics. If you're a DPS, your job is to stay alive and make sure you do enough damage to get through whatever boss timers are there. In World of Warcraft, which is the MMO I know from experience, You know, you have enrage timers. If you don't beat the boss by a certain point, they just blow up, start doing 1,000,000 damage per second until you die. And a lot of the new bosses don't even let you face tank for a few seconds. They'll just pierce through whatever immunities you're supposed to have. So, you know, I kind of liken this experience to what you would expect out of an MMO. My analogy is bereft of specificity, but I hope it works. Alright, Sir Fortissax. My aim is to put you to rest any way I can. 2 there based on positioning. Yep. Run. Medium. Refresh buff. Ah, you're gonna try to cut me off, are you, Sir Fortissax? What a smart dragon. I can see why Godwin chose you as his companion. Uh-oh. Just run. I rolled instead of jumped. Nope, that's not a shockwave I can jump. I'm not sure what to do about that. Run, run, do not stay there. Just run. I've lost that DPS opportunity. Yes. Also, I didn't even care about fixing my camera. That's how much I wanted this to be over. Final freaking Oh. That is exhausting, but we did it. We did it. And now we have the complete mending rune of the Death Prince. So let's take a look at our new find. That was exhausting. Can be used to mend. Wow. English is not my strong suit today. Rune gestated by Fia, the deathbed companion. used to restore the fractured Elden ring when brandished by the Elden Lord. Formed of the two Hallowbrand half-wheels combined, it will embed the principle of life within death into order. The Golden Order was created by confining destined death. Thus, this new order will be one of death restored. That's a pretty big deal. It tells you something about how Elden Ring, how the lands between was sort of made. That it's an arrestment of the natural cycle. At least that's how the those who live in death see it. Oh, that feels so good to just.
Prince of Death, take a good long look. See the wrath of the Golden Order, the Order's justice writ in blood. This is what's become of your precious witch. Naught but expired meat and bone. This is a proper death, O Prince. Look at this rotten whore. No more children can be got from this useless flesh. Behold, your mother is dead. This is revenge, you witch, and you ghoul. This is the wrath of D.
We get her hood and her robes. The small clothes come later, children. Much later. Now, I feel bad that Fia is dead, but can I tell you I understand this man's reasons? I understand why he killed her. Because she killed his brother. This is not the same D we knew. The other D was more scaled back than this. No, this is the younger brother, and he sort of has this respiteful glee to his voice that he's managed to get his revenge on Fia, and honestly, I can understand that. If someone killed my sibling, I too would probably... I would have to reconcile that with myself, but I think my initial feelings would definitely be this man's. One of, like, long, short-term revenge, followed more by long-term, deep-seated revenge. And somewhere along the way, me, as, like, a person of faith, would have to reconcile that. I would have to find a way to discard that, or be consumed by it. Those are the two choices you get in life. Be consumed by what consumes you, by what you obsess over, or be free of it. Alright, D, tell me more about your revenge.
Hello. The rotten witch is dead. The Golden Order unsullied. Now I can look my brother Darian in the eye. Honeyed rays of gold deliver my spirit. Darian, now I have no regrets. Honeyed rays of gold deliver my spirit. Darian, now...
Well, you know, if you thought to kill her to stop her from what she was doing, you failed. If you killed her in order to exact revenge, then you have succeeded. Good job. I feel so good knowing that I can, get that. I'm just all sweaty. Ugh, I am disgusting. Would this be ancient dynasties? No. Beings of the void? No. Where would our lovely dragon be? Servants of death, probably? No, not even there. Yeah, here we go. And we unlocked the full thing right away. So let's see how right we were. I feel like we were pretty close with the spreadsheet. So he had 36,800 health with a poise of 150. The enemy class was boss. He was an undead and a dragon. Defenses and negation. Okay, so if you were gonna use arrows or a rapier, you would have had a good time. You would have had a better time with this boss. Maybe the arrows, not anything else. So it's nice to know that in the future, you can probably use the aberrant sorceries, because I think those deal pierce now. And that would have gotten us where we wanted. Immune to madness, sleep, and death blight. Frost. He just had high resists all the way around. The same resist all the way through, equally resistant. I'm still glad we managed to actually kill Fortissax and lay him to rest. So now that we've done this, we have the inseparable sword and the twin set. We finally have that back. Goody. This means we can actually, like, wear other stuff again. Good lord. I'm so relieved. The jubilation I feel is almost beyond knowing, really. Yeah, let's go ahead and wear a heavier set. I feel like wearing a heavy set today. And now we can replace this lovely thing with our sword. This feels good. And then we can, thinking on our tier situation, do we have one? We have 3. Okay, we have 3. Which means, you know what, I think I'm okay for right now. I don't want to change any stats. It's going to be better for us in the long run if we don't have anything we have to switch. We're just going to go right over to the next boss, which is in the hero's grave. Oh, that's so good. I should make a highlight of that. Like a little bit before the 1 hour mark is about where I expect that death to have occurred. Oh, feels so good. Now we'll switch and do something else just completely. Oh, by something else I mean switch spells. What spells do we want? Well, we're wearing the Radon set, so why not give gravity stuff a try? And I think we'll also probably keep on Magic Glint Blade. Just having something we can do on the move where we can fire and forget it is good. Alright, I'm gonna go figure out why the hell it's so hot in my house. Take a 7-minute break. I really feel I need to cool down from that. And I will see you at the end of those 7 minutes. Because I'm taking a 7-minute break, we're gonna play a full 3 minutes of ads. Sorry, but I don't want you to be gone for like more than 5 minutes while you're gone stretching. So I think this is a good compromise. I thank anyone who sits through the 3 minutes of ads, and I understand if you don't. God, I feel like I'm gonna have to switch the stream title now. Yeah, it's break time. I'll see you guys in 7-ish minutes. I don't think I played an ad during that entire time. Oh well, it happens. Sorry for leaving you guys so absent for so long. 7 minutes without any sort of ad run at all is silly. Both from my standpoint and for yours, because it reduces structure. Welcome back. How is everyone doing? So, we got one out of 2 bosses down. Now, can we get a second one? Now, we don't actually have any status to speak of. So, what I'm thinking of is we actually want... Interesting. We can either... Does this apply? I have to remember whether or not... I kept saying Azur's. It was Lusat's staff, not Azur's staff. I get this mixed up a lot, actually. I get it mixed up quite a bit. We're going to go for the meteorite staff here, and hopefully we'll just be able to keep going. We're under medium load right now, which is a good thing. Yeah, I like how the staff is the discrepancy between medium load and non-medium load. Ugh. Can I just tell you how exhilarating that feels to just be able to be able to say we finally did it. Now, here's what's going to happen afterwards. So, you know, Fia dying at the hands of Darian. I could definitely say with certainty that that is the end. But you're like, well, isn't there an ending tied to that? There is. There is. It's one of the 6 endings, as a matter of fact. You know what we do with the rune? Because that's ultimately the goals. We get some sort of thing we have to present. When we get ready to actually complete the game for our first time, we'll have the option to pick the ending we worked so hard towards. If nothing else, we at least have one of those endings unlocked now. Now, everything converges on killing Radagon and killing the Elden Beast. There's no hoofing it around. We gotta make our way through to the end game and see it through. Nice. And, yep, there we go. There, I was waiting for that one. That was really close. Thank goodness this ain't a hitless challenge. And then we deal with you. That takes care of everything else. So now we got these 2 dunderheads to deal with. Same deal as before. I don't talk during boss fights, you know, with some notable exceptions. Hopefully this time it'll go a lot better than it has been. We'll find out. See you guys on the other side of the fog gate. But I suppose it might be worth mentioning before we... Oh, you know what I just realized? That we're holding on to way too many runes. Way too many runes. We do not want to be holding these runes right now. Let's go spend those. So I guess I could take the time to kind of talk about, you know, our overall strategy for the boss, which is, you know, don't get hit. Pray that we've got good reflexes. I'm joking. Most likely I'm going to focus on Spear Guy, because Spear Guy, or the Halberd Guy, has the more complicated moveset. and tends to restrict my space a lot more than the Sword and Shield guy does. The Sword and Shield guy does restrict space, but not to the same degree. I could predict how Sword and Shield guy's restricting my space. Halberdier, you don't really know. I mean, you have some idea, but it's kind of random what he does sometimes. I could say that about any boss, but you know what I mean. It seems more random, less predictable to me, so I have to pay more attention to it. Me personally. You guys will find that each boss in Elden Ring can do this for you, where either you know what you're doing or you don't know what you're doing. Or you know how to behave with it or you don't know how to behave with it. And I don't know how to behave with that one, despite the fact that we've
Your thoughts, your ambitions.
let's get that point of dexterity up. I know, not the best place to be putting our points, but I'd like to be able to use our bows at some point if we need it and not have to worry about much else. I think for the foreseeable future, we are going to stick with our sorceries. We don't really have... If we were using the aberrant sorceries, then there would be a good reason to worry about our arcane score as well. We do have 3 tiers. We can respec if needed. And I might respec if I don't foresee any difficult bosses for us. But right now, we need to kind of break those barriers. Break that glass ceiling. Because that's what these 2 bosses have kind of felt like to me, are glass ceilings. They're things I should have completed a long time ago, but, for whatever reason, I was just not able to do it. And I'm fixing that now. It's going to be tough going back to old builds, though, especially if we're using different spells. We're kind of at a really tricky position in terms of our endurance. Nice. Glanced by 2 arrows at the exact same time. And the other one. Our spells are so powerful that we can, for the most part, based on the stagger. Had those stagger updates or poise updates for the spell projectiles not gone through, we would have been in a lot more danger, so to speak. Alright. I'm ready to summon up Lutel. Gotta be extra careful. Alright, we'll switch. I can switch targets. Oh, okay. Thank you, Lutel. I appreciate that. Gotta mind where Ordovis is at all times. Alright. I don't have the luxury of... Oh, it's not good. Now I've got these, both of them after me. Awesome. Alright, I get the feeling I'm gonna have to start, Oh, here you come. Gotta make sure I'm keeping the other knight on screen. Alright. Oh, I thought I hit the duck correctly. I did not. That was really close. Alright. Are you gonna stop spamming this? No? Run. Gotta keep them both on the screen. I'm dead. Alright, gravity spells are awful for this fight. Absolutely god-awful. Alright, let's return. Let's reframe our spells and try to do something else. If I have to, I'll even switch to Sorcerer and try to go from there. Alright. First, let's pop one of these. Now, let's think about our spells. Let's think about what we want out of this. I don't want to be stuck in long casting animations, and for what it's worth, Magic Glint Blade is awful for this. Because they move out of the way half the time. So instead, what I think I'm going to do is go for Glintstone stuff. And let's see. I'll probably try to throw in the, like, night stuff. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll try something like that. Where is it? The twin set. Here we go. Got ourselves the twin set. We've got ourselves a nice staff. Now we just need. It's interesting because we could go with boosting like night sorceries. Or invisibility sorcery, I guess is what the game is going to call it. Or we could try to boost Glintstone. Well, Glintstone doesn't actually have a boost. Instead, you'd have to go for something like the Crystal Knife or something along those lines. Interesting. Carrying crystal. I don't think carrying. I have to remember what that passive effect does, because I could have swore like there were a lot of boosts that were just folded into carrying sorcery, but I could be mistaken. In fact, I'm almost willing to bet that I'm mistaken. I would much rather bet on that, as a matter of fact. So instead, we're just gonna grab ourselves the Staff of Loss. And then I guess if we don't have the opportunity to do much else, you know, we could at the very least say we have powerful sorceries on hand. So how's everyone doing? Everyone enjoying the gameplay so far? You know, if I'm being completely honest with you, this has happened a few times where, you know, I intend to do 4 hours of Fortissax, or not Fortissax attempts, but like of like some serious or difficult boss, and then within like the first hour, I'm already starving for a new stream title. I'll have to relabel this stream, I think. I typically don't. I don't like to do that, but I will if it makes more cohesive sense. Fortissax was hard. He is very hard. If I had maybe done this at the 200 level instead of at any other time, it's very possible that, you know, had I done it at level 200, I might have had an easier time, but I wanted to do it at a reasonable, you know, level. I wanted to get it done when players would normally get that done, which is right around the time you start, it's right around the time you start exploring Altus Plateau. Ronnie's questline I'm holding on to for a very different reason, and that's because there's an item tied to it. We're gonna try summoning Lutel again. Hopefully the Lutel seems to hold their own about half the time. Bad. I should have dodged that. Oh, right. I remember. I have to remember that you could, you know, get like totally duck under that. Nice. No, yeah, I should not have DPS during that. Those are just bad decisions on my part. And fighting an endgame boss like Fortissax does not prepare you in the slightest for dealing with other bosses. Each boss has its own procedure. You need to do your own stuff for handling them. So that was with the Star Shower. I think I'll get the best results using the invisibility sorceries. I'm just gonna wait for this guy to come. Well, actually don't have to do that. I can just... Nice. I'm gonna die before getting back to the boss chamber. If my death didn't hold any kind of weight to it, I would just kill myself, but... alas, it does. Can't be helped. That's what happens when you're not patient, folks. I'm gonna let this guy res himself, and we're gonna farm up our FP. Full health, good sir, or like a... yeah, full health. I only need you to res yourself one more time. Worst form of torture ever. Wake up, only to be killed over and over and over, and you can't die. Awful. Would not wish this on any human being in the whole wide world. We have enough FP. We can summon Lutel. I'll just have to drink up afterwards. Guaranteed. Or I drank without actually summoning Lutel, which is really bad. I will definitely die for this transgression. I rolled instead of jumped. Classic. Good thing I checked. Really? I think that's the trick. Just pepper him with ambush shards, and we'll kill him. Oh, and unlike the last fight, where, you know, summoning was not helpful in the slightest, summoning this time is actually very helpful. Because it keeps, it either keeps Ordovis off my back, or it keeps the other Crucible Knight, off my back. Oh, yep, that's what happens when you don't watch yourself. Really? Yep, I knew that would happen. Yep, just die. Not worth it. Ordovis was like... Or, not Ordovis. I am fighting Ordovis. Other Crucible Knights like, hey, this opponent isn't very exciting. I'm gonna go see what the human's doing. Ah, human is fighting my boss. I'm gonna kill you now for that. I'm just gonna have to take these guys out. No way around it. Nice. What a bad time all around. Just get away. I'm gonna die before before doing this. What an excellent start. I just have to keep with it though. I don't want to be heading back right now. I hate to do this to myself. It's very possible that Mimic Tier is just not very good in ERR because of the health requirement. But I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try the Mimic Tier and see what happens. Ah, didn't time that right. Cannot... Oh, okay, yeah. Mimic Tier didn't do that great. Really? I'm just not pressing it in time. Just run. Good thing I did too. Definitely just run. Nope. Wow, that is a huge range. I'd forgotten just how huge it was. Okay, okay. Got it. So, other than a name, he's just a normal knight. Makes sense. Take your final bow, Crucible Knight. Take your final bow and enjoy. Alright. We have cast the shadow off of ourselves. Now I am finally allowed to feel free to continue onward. Finally. Ha! That's the specter of bosses off of my back now. At least for the time being. Now, what we're gonna do is we've gone through the hero's grave, and all that fun stuff. We got one more boss we could go fight, and then we can actually, I could consider Lane Dell finished until we're ready to actually proceed. So, what'd you guys think? I would definitely very much say we're not in the spirit of our current build right now. My intention is to try to like max all 3 casting stats, but right now it's kind of more like I can very expensively switch to doing something else, something different. And additionally, it's just nice to be back in a different area. It's nice to see different things and not be need to get around the front of this crab, so he stops doing this. Crabs get real. Crabs are very spammy enemies. They do, in fact, require. Hello, Boggart. How are you doing?
Want some more crab, do you?
I guess I'll take a boiled crab. Doesn't hurt us to get just one. And I'm gonna support Boggart while he's Boggart while he's alive. While he's alive and well. Nice. Very nice. So now we can actually carry a bevy of spells on us again. Until it is time for us to bulk down for the next... Or pare down for the next boss. Alright. So I want... Carrion Slicer is a very good generator. Then we're going to grab the Snowdrift. And that's probably good in terms of generators. Star Showers, Glintstone Arc. Glintstone Ice Crag. Then I guess we've also got Ancient Death Rancor and Fizz Mist. I think that'll be good enough. We don't have any aberrant sorceries that complement our playstyle yet. That's the only other thing we're really missing is blood stuff. Oh, and it's 77 in my house right now. And the AC's on. It's just not working very well right now. Probably have to get another work order on it, but the summer months do tend to strain the Freon very, very greatly. ACs typically always have a hard time in summer, unless you got premier top-of-the-line air conditioning. I don't. I have old building air conditioning, and on top of that, my room is just naturally kind of hot at all times. So I'm sorry if I'm rubbing my forehead or my brow a lot. But it hot. It very hot. Now, let's take care of business. And I think, because of the way we're set up right now, I'm just gonna carry both the primeval staves. I think that's the best way to phrase that. We're gonna carry both of those. I can't tell you how nice it feels to actually hear this music to know of it. It's just fantastic. It's nice to just do anything besides grind for a boss or be in the shadow of my own failures. Okay, good. We don't actually have this entry yet. We so much did... Oh, God. We really did not have that codex entry, did we? That's okay. We could fix it. Just wait behind this rock. Let's keep moving. I keep forgetting to actually get the codex entries for these. I can get them at any time, though. So, a little bit about what's up this way. Outside of, like, the one or two areas, we do have the Draconic Tree Sentinel. That's sitting outside. And I say it's Draconic because it breathes fire. And it's just a very generally high-powered nuisance. It's a greatly upgraded form of what we've been fighting so far, in terms of the other tree sentinels. Nice. Really, the key with these giant golem enemies is to just be very patient. And, you know, don't get too close to them. Don't smother them. Treat them like a baby. And, you know, think of their giant weapon as like a rattler. If the baby says, "Don't touch me," don't touch it. You are getting a Glintstone Crag to the face. Just to make sure we don't have issues. Nice. I'm not playing very well, am I? I think this change of, like, here's an enemy you haven't actually tagged yet is really, really cool. It's the exact thing the Codex has been missing. It was really tough. Like, you sort of had an idea of what you were or weren't getting, but it, did or didn't have in the Codex. But it is really quite nice to just not have to guess anymore. As long as it's not a boss. Bosses, I think it's fair trade on whether or not you need to know about them ahead of time, whether you have to get them in the Codex or not. But just in terms of, like, regular run-of-the-mill enemies, that's a really nice feature. That makes 100%ing the Codex a lot easier. And I say 100% very loosely, because one of the nice features about the, you know, Codex, the bestiary, if you will, is the fact that you don't... when you complete the level 3 entries, that's what the 100% actually is. You can reset it and do it all over again. It's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So if you want to keep getting the rune rewards again, you can. Would I recommend it? No. I mean, it's not really reasonable to repeat it over and over again. And you're repeating what is essentially like hours of work for very minimal reward. Like in the grand scheme of things, the reward is great when you're not seeking to earn it. When you actually seek to earn it, it's bad. That's a pretty good way of looking at a lot of things in Elden Ring Reforged. Is if you don't push too hard, you're fine. If you push really hard and you're pushing for like really small things, you're not going to get a ton of reward out of it. You have to find these intrinsic reasons for wanting to do it instead of the simple extrinsic reasons that the game expects you to have. Okay. This would have pointed us toward the side tomb area. I see what was happening. Yeah, I suppose the intention is that you could miss these tombs, and I would happen to agree with the game. You can very easily miss these tombs. Look right there. We can, excuse me, if the mic picked that up, I am sorry. There is our Draconic Tree Sentinel. Notice the giant club? They don't even pretend anymore. It's like they know that their predecessors had obsessions with dragons. Alright, Mimic. Got a bunch of stuff. Let's show this boss what we're made of. Okay, it's more like a fire bolt. That makes sense. I don't think so. Despite the new flashy attacks, it wasn't actually that bad to defeat them. And boy, what a flashy attack it was. Yeah, that takes care of our business here. We've done everything up to this point beforehand, so now we can actually just focus on exploring the areas that are along this path now. It sounds kind of funny to talk about going over here when we've already gone this way, but that was under the direction of a person who wanted to collect very specific items, and I was willing to entertain that, so that's why I got them. There's nothing that says we're stuck with a spell build. We can shift out if I think it's going to be easier for us. But my intention is very much to play caster builds and go from there. It's time for another break. I didn't air any ads, so I'm going to play 90 seconds of them this time. let's get that vigor up to 40. Like I think I've got my stats where I want them, other than, you know, obviously being hyper focused on int. That's not where I want to be, but having health is good. We want that stuff. I'm gonna leave you guys with a rather picturesque view, and I will be back in 5-ish minutes. I will see you guys after the commercial break. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Took a little bit longer than I expected, but I needed the stretch. What can I say? Well, I'm certainly glad it wasn't necessary for us to have to deal with you know, shifting over to like Quick Step or something real cheap like that. It was nice to be able to just put an art on our weapon, not think too much about it, and defeat these bosses. How is everyone doing so far? I hope everyone is enjoying themselves. I want to thank everybody so much for stopping by so far. I was kind of expecting this to be a full 4-hour ordeal where, you know, I grind against Fortissax until he dies, or most likely what would have happened is, you know, I died. But that didn't happen. We got him in the first hour. And then we got the Crucible Knights within like 45 minutes. And the Draconic Tree Sentinel at the gates of Lanedell took not but a single attempt later. Which is just fantastic. It's nice to have everything just sort of, you know, not be so curmudgeoningly difficult for a change. I think I'm beginning to appreciate what Ivy was trying to say earlier. That what I was doing was really just not going to work. You could go for it, but it can end up taking an inordinate amount of time for no reason, and maybe people don't want to stick by and watch. I don't know if Ivy said all of that, but I definitely know they were at least trying to tell me about, hey, we rebalanced this. You can't do what you're doing. We might have even specifically balanced so that you couldn't do what you were doing. I don't know what the design intention is. I presume most people are not me. You know, I'm the person who doesn't mind taking the long way to things if I get to do everything in the process. Now, Elden Ring is too big. There are too many stats. You have to pick. I did pick. I picked spells. I just didn't think I would have to pick again. You know, but that's Elden Ring, and that's what it is now. Is you don't have time to not pick, to basically to not optimize. If you do, you know, take the path that we took over the last 50 episodes, then you know, be prepared for pain and suffering, because the bosses are not going to be weighted with that kind of build in mind. They're going to be weighted for, did you hit the breakpoints? If you didn't hit the breakpoints, you're not going to do very well. We are at medium load right now, which is good. If I remove this, we're at medium load still. Good. Which means we can finally put on the Godfrey icon. Because at the very least, we do have some spells we can charge. And we do get something for charging them. Somewhat. If you're wondering what I am doing, I'm checking the mountainside to make sure we haven't missed anything somewhere along the way. It's real easy to do. Especially if you're used to thinking of Elden Ring as a game where you can't jump, then you're gonna miss a lot. It isn't just, you know, janky falls. Like, some of the jumps are janky, sure, but you actually have tools to use. You can make jumps. It just might take a minute to finesse the exact jump. Excuse me. I'll have to make a note. Actually, while I'm right here and there's not much on the screen, I'm just going to take a second and note the pixel positioning on my display for where I should put the camera. That's 20. Oh, I didn't put this correctly. That's the dimensions of the thing, not the distance off the screen. I'll have to go back and fix this for the Elix playthrough I'm doing on YouTube. So its dimensions are 29 by 23. And the dimensions on the screen are 1768 by 964. And those are in pixels. Okay. I'm gonna put some marks around that. I find that I have to write stuff down a lot more or I forget it. It doesn't mean my memory is bad, but you know, you can really only remember about 30% of what you hear and about 20% of what you type. Oh, it's what you type is memory by typing is awful. Yeah, that's why you have to practice it a lot because the memory retention on it isn't very good. And not surprisingly, when you don't type on a daily basis for more than like a few minutes, you end up with the professors and the training professionals who peck at their keyboard because that's what they know how to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's what you end up with. People who sit there and poke at the keys. And most likely, those professionals go on to have interns who are way better at typing the keyboard. Do stuff for them. Are you gonna, like, go grab everyone? No? Okay, good. Instead, you know, my own noises are going to get me in trouble. Thank you, thank you. Your service is much appreciated. Now get into my codex where you belong. We just killed one, so I think we're good there. I'm having to pay a little more attention now that we, I think we already went up this way, so it'd just be everything below the pathway, right? For Steven, it's probably been something like 3 to 5 episodes since having a sincere look at our exact footprint. I'm probably trekking over stuff you guys aren't interested in, as is. Probably. So, I don't know, some people like the journey and don't care much for reaching the destination. I have a small audience who tends to prefer the journey over the destination, but I'm welcome to, you know, I'm welcome for anybody. I don't mind if the destination is what people want to see. I try to be open and inviting to everyone. That being said, I know my commentary is kind of rubbish. You can't really please everyone in the first place. Like, a lot of stuff I do is I wouldn't say it's futile, but I know it's not. That's not very good streaming etiquette. Hello? It's nice to be doing easy stuff for a change. I know I've said this like 4 times. I just can't help myself. It feels good to finally get this. Oh, not good. It feels good to get the specter of those bosses, you know, off my back. Speaking of, like, stuff I'm doing and stuff I'm doing not on Twitch, let me tell you a little bit about the projects I do when I'm not on Twitch. As you guys know, I stream twice a week on Twitch, but I stream more than that now. I stream 4 times. 2 are in different places, and 2 are here. On Fridays, what I normally play Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries. It's a mod for Grim Dawn. That's Dawn of Masteries. Grim Dawn is like a hack and slash horror RPG that has Lovecraftian elements to it. that takes place in a post-apocalyptic setting. That's the best way I know to describe it. To anyone looking to play, it's a Diablo clone. It's a Path of Exile clone. It's not a clone. It does differentiate itself quite nicely, but if you're looking for this is the gameplay loop, it is a copy of that kind of gameplay loop where loot is randomized and you're following a story, and then at some point you're let loose from that story. When you actually complete it, you could go back and do other stuff. It's a copy of that gameplay loop. It's similar. We do that every Friday, you know, unless something comes up or I'm not feeling up to streaming that day. But lately, Grim Dawn's had a patch, like a new patch. The Crate Entertainment is still putting out patches for this stuff, and it's not a new game, and I'm surprised they put in the patches, but it's great that they do it. It means they care about their product. But as a result of all that love and care, it breaks my mods. So I gotta find something new that nobody's really divesting interest in. The game company has actually moved on and not anything else. I'm gonna have to go back up and clear that ballista, is what it sounds like. Trebuchet, excuse me. So luckily I had another project in the pipeline, and that's Elix. That's another YouTube streaming series. We play Elix. It's good fun. I would describe it as a clunkier action RPG, ARPG. It's similar to Elden Ring, but you're a lot more confined in what you can and can't do. And on top of that, it's half of it is dialogue driven, whereas in Elden Ring, you know, hardly any of it is. I'll explain more in just a second. Wow, I thought I was gonna outrun that. Okay. I recently made a new thumbnail. I'm just gonna get out of sight of that horseman over there, because I want to show. I want to show it. I think I did good work with it. So if I look back over at the proclamations, so this image here is like a. It comes from the intro movie sequence. I googled images of Elix until I found one that somebody took, and I'm like, okay, I obviously have to tinker with it, and, you know, modify it. I can't just put the plain image. And my style of thumbnail is pretty much, I number the thumbnail so people know which episode they're on without even reading the title. I've put the game over in there, just like I do with Grim Dawn. The green square is a little bit of an artistic design on my part. I didn't blend it that well, obviously. And then I've what's different is this time I have put the title of the thumbnail right into the thumbnail, so you know which episode it is just by reading it. I'm not a good artist. Everything I did is a little bit of brushwork mixed with, you know, like circle tools, rectangle tools. This green square with the black border on it, I hope people can tell there's a black border there. That was just a bunch of square tools until it was time for me to use the blur brush. I used Krita to do this, by the way. Same thing with the circle tool. I took a black circle, filled it in, and then took a blur brush, blurred it, and then I added some blue marker and blurred that in. That's pretty much what I did. And the image, of course, is red with some blue in it. I basically took a color and burnt it into the image. Burning means to, like, basically add, or like darken and add color to the image at the same time. Krita defines this pretty mathematically, but yeah, on to make a new thumbnail. And I hope people are. I hope people like the thumbnail. I'm not a good artist. Like I said, everything I did there was image edits. The green square is what I would call the artsy portion of it, and that's pretty much about it. And I wouldn't call that art. I would call it, well, Steven thought it would be pretty symbolic, but it's just a nice green square. Nothing more than that. And maybe the next logical question is, what's the symbology of the green square? Well, I could tell you use multiple colors, but so I blended 5 colors plus black into that. At first I was gonna do a striped flag, but I thought that would be very tacky. I think the green square is, of course, just as tacky, but I wanted to do something symbolic. Thank you, Sir Steed. But, basically, I'm not succinctly answering questions is what I'm doing. The green square, which the blended colors for it were blue, green, blue, bright green, yellow, yellowish orange, bright red, and white, were to represent the different factions in Elix. And I thought, like, that looks kind of tacky. Let's try to make that better. So I thought I'll just blend the whole thing. I just took a blend brush or a blur brush and smeared all the colors together and then put a new border on it. Ta-da! Instant square. I mean, what I plan on doing as a little, addendum is I'm probably going to make a new vector layer on that image, and I'm going to insert an icon, and that icon is going to be based on the various symbols for what Elix is, or because the factions don't have. They do have symbols. The most common one is the cleric symbol. It's on their propaganda. The berserkers don't have one. The outlaws don't really have one. And the Albs don't really have one. So that's what I've thought about doing is taking one of the consumable icons, doing it kind of my way, on a paint layer, and then convert it to a vector, and then shuffle that out depending on which faction I'm playing, or whether or not I am playing one, or playing, like, in a faction territory or getting to know a faction. I didn't do that for the first one, because you have the option of not following the guy that's put in front of you in the intro area. You don't have to follow him. You can go your own way. But starting from the second episode, which means I need to figure it out in approximately 5 days. The second day of the project is going to be, we're actually doing berserker stuff. But we're not going to be joining the berserkers, just doing their faction quests. So we're going to put a berserker icon on there somehow. For the berserkers, I already have one in mind. It's the other stuff I'm not so sure about. Now, we went all the way over here and probably didn't actually take care of the crew manning the trebuchet. Yeah, I didn't do that. Let's fix that. Thank you for your custom. So, we do that on Fridays. We play Elix, at least until Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries is actually updated, and then, it's back to Grim Dawn, Dawn of Masteries. Then on Mondays, I do a Discord stream. I've been recording the stream for Discord as well, so I've got like my own VODs of it. But I'm really trying to decide whether or not I keep all the VODs. Because here's the thing. The very first VOD had 90 minutes of unusable footage, so I'm really having to make the painful choice of cutting it out or not cutting it out. The next one had... Really, once I get past the second stream, it's fine. Second stream had intermittent interruptions, so I have to cut all those out. And that's a lot of work, and I'm historically bad at editing. I don't really like to sit down and do it, and my legs can only take so much sitting at my chair for a day before I have to get up and stretch. And when you pile in the hot room I also have, it makes it very... I'm very disincentivized to actually want to sit down and edit videos. Never mind the fact that I'm also trying to work on, you know, I promised you guys a guide for Blasphemous, an actual honest-to-goodness walkthrough, not just an LP, but an actual walkthrough. Because we have the VODs. I have records of us beating the game. I am missing some videos from that. Most notably, I think I'm missing episode number 9, because I have to splice that together. Because the internet was bad that day. There was an overhead storm. But I have VOD records of what we do here on Twitch. YouTube.com/swirlingvortex09 VODS, where the V and D are capitalized. I have a link tree, and once you go to my main YouTube page, youtube.com/swirlingvortex09, there should be an icon that says, there should be like a YouTube icon that takes you to my VODs page. Just click on that, and you'll be in for a rather fun time. If you're wondering what I'm doing now, we're kind of exploring the lower hillside. We're exploring the lower hillside, and we're making sure we don't miss stuff in the process. Speaking of not missing things, here's a set of ruins over here, which, if I remember, I believe have somewhere you can actually go. I know, novel, right? Very novel. Everywhere is somewhere you can go. Every place has somewhere you can go. What I mean is, I think there's like an underground stairwell, if I know where to look. You just gotta find the correct scene. There are only but so many patterns for... I can jump on this thing. Hello. Thank you, but I don't need you, you know, throwing poison in my face. Nice. I don't know what this is in vanilla. I'd have to go and consult a table, but this was like some sort of consumable item, in vanilla, I'm fairly sure. So it's nice that we got some free signs of the all-knowing. That'll help us keep her total for a long time. I don't think there are enough signs of the all-knowing that you don't have to make any. If there are, someone will have to let me know. But, there are enough signs that you should be able to at least identify bosses without much of a problem. And you know, you want to be careful about bosses. Although you can resurrect them. Like, that's the deal, right? Is that you can actually resurrect bosses in Elden Ring Reforged, so you're not as... You don't have to worry so much about failing to get it the first time. You could just focus on killing the boss, and then come back later. Now, if you're like me, there are some bosses you probably don't want to be, you know, actually trying to, you know, do repeats on. Cough, cough, elevator, Godskin Noble, cough, cough. Because I did try several times, to repeat that boss, but it is a slog to kill the Godskin Noble on that elevator. I still, you know, I respect artistic merit. I just think there are a few attacks the Godskin Noble really should not be doing. One of them is like that. Well, really, I guess it's not the attacks, it's actually the space. If the elevator were a little bit bigger, it would be fine. And because that's like a screen asset, or, you know, like a map asset, I know that you actually don't want to be adding map elements into the game. That's not really something you want to be doing, and it's beyond the spirit of this mod, with some exceptions. Still, having a little more wiggle room and maybe calling that the easy mode of Godskin Nobles, maybe that would be nice. It would be nice to not have to fall off the edge every single time I want to roll out of the way of some attack. Now, the Godskin Noble on the elevator in the Tower of Liurnian is there to teach you how to deflect stuff. That's what they're there for. There are some people who are very bad at deflecting, and that is their chance to kind of like get good at it. But I got a secret for those who are like, well, just get good at deflects. That works for Godskin Noble. That does not teach people how to get good at deflects in general. I feel like we need another Phantom boss in the same style as like the Phantom Crucible Knight, who specifically punishes us if you don't deflect. It should be a new boss, not with nothing tied behind it. Nothing at all. Other than like runes. If you're wondering what's going on here, essentially, off in the distance are some Fulgur blooms we can collect. And we're going to have a very lovely encounter with someone very special in just a moment. But before that, we want to get our reward, our just reward. We want to be able to collect our runes off of the unmarked or like mausoleum burial grounds. This is what we want. Alright. Let's make sure there's... Let's get far enough away that it's not problematic. Okay. We're good here. I just had to get far enough away. And once you get out here on these cliffs, there really isn't much out here. I don't remember there being a whole bunch out here anyway. You think of something like the chair, but really and truly, the artist chairs are different than normal chairs, and usually the chairs are found in like ruins and stuff. They're not usually found in random locations. They seem random, but the chairs I think are placed with a little bit of care. You find chairs where you find ruins most of the time. Even if the ruins are mostly barren and there are no empty columns and stuff, they're still ruins. Alright. Let's head back up. The rest site should tell you everything you need to know. There is a boss up here. I do not know if we actually dealt with him I believe we did. It wasn't like 20-ish episodes ago. I believe we dealt with him already. Caused him to fly away. Hello. No, don't even think about it. Never mind. I don't think there were any alerted enemies, which is good. Very good, in fact. So our Fulgur Bloom is like up there. That's what we're looking for. Think so, anyway. If I remember, I have done this once. That's the thing, though. I've done it only once. So my memory is not very good. I sense a trap. No trap. Good. Let's keep moving before we find a trap. Sorry, I'm taking just a second to kind of like rest my throat. Ugh. Oh, something died off in the distance. Sorry to anyone who picked that up, that other noise up. I accidentally smacked my mic. Oh, hello. That didn't take long. Really? Run. Nice. Landsax's glaive, is that what that said? Reading spell entries is particularly bad here. Glaive. Yeah, Landsax's glaive. We'll read this in a better location. For now, I'm going to see if there are any electric rams. So there's at least one. Go ahead and assign. Nice. We got the codex entry. Yep. Good stuff. So, if you guys will recall the dragon that was over here outside of Magma Worm Mikar's area and the ruin-strewn precipice, we had a dragon that we were starting to fight and he kind of flew away. Yeah, this was that dragon. And we got a spell for our efforts. Another spell for our collection. A spell that doesn't mean much to us given our current, you know, state of being, but when we get back to our balanced stats, it'll mean a lot more for us. Especially once we start getting the 50, 55 stat thresholds to use everything. And this is the spot you want to be. This is the spot or area you want to find when you're wanting to farm. When you're wanting to farm Fulgur Bloom. This whole entire plateau next to the rampart side path. That's what you want. Let's get off of the clearing. And then we can actually go over our new spell. I think there might even be a skill with that associated spell. Alright. Our surroundings look pretty good. Alright. We can actually read this thing. It is a incantation. I almost said miracle. Incantation that channels the power of the ancient dragon Fortissax. Creates a red lightning glaive and sweeps the area from above. This attack unleashes trails of lightning, similar to the ones that we saw from Fortissax and Fortissax. Same kind. Fortissax was the sister of Fortissax. It is said that she took the form of a human to commune with the knights as a priestess of the ancient dragon cult. Makes sense. Dragons beget the dragon cults in order to disguise themselves amongst humans as humans. Good stuff. So now we have... Oh, I did a very, very bad. Good. We fixed it. Easy stuff. Nice. What do we have over here? The routing of the ancient dragons, Godwyn the Golden fought to the last, earning the friendship of dread Fortissax. See, this confirms it. All these grave markers confirm, or they tell a story. This one tells us that, hey, you know that big giant lich dragon we fought, who was undead and also a dragon? Yeah, he laid by Godwyn's side. He was a friend. He didn't have to stick his neck out for Godwyn, but he did. He laid with him. He tried his best to fix Godwyn and couldn't. And eventually, just like Midir in Dark Souls 3, the corruption took hold, and what we have is the acceptance of death into undeath. Living into death unto perpetuity. That is what Fortissax became. And, you know, even if my story isn't conclusively proven or anything, I think it makes a lot of sense given what we see at the end, right? You know, if they weren't friends, why would we find Fortissax and have to fight him and not Godwyn himself? Fighting Godwyn himself is what I would expect. Or, you know, the Spectre of Undeath, or even Fia herself. I would have expected those kinds of fights. At least that's my way of thinking about it anyway. I hope that makes sense. I'm not tugging anyone's brain or anything. Or, you know, jerking everyone's leg. I hope my rationale makes some sense. But if you want, like, a premier expert... Nice. If you want a premier expert on lore, I promise you that's not me. I highly recommend checking out either Vatividia or Zuli the Witch, or a few other YouTubers out there. They have content that sort of goes over If you're talking about lore specifically and not cutting room floor material, that is Vati Vidya and nothing else. Zuli the Witch is more about cutting room floor material and what's happening like behind the scenes in the Soulsborne series plus Sekiro and Elden Ring. They do a lot of background work on that. Those are the best people to go find. And a lot of what I know is taken from them anyway. Like, they aren't my ideas. I think I would have drawn the conclusion eventually, because I have not actually read that particular lore stone. I would have drawn that conclusion eventually, but Vati Vidya definitely helped out with that. So now, what we're going to do is, we're going to go check out this ruined church. Nice. Good. I was a little worried we were going to have a problem. I'm glad to see that that is all just a dream. A nice dream. And look where we are. You see, we went to this plateau, and we're back here over by the giant stairwell into the walkway into the outer walls of Landell. It's nice to see connections to places you've been, right? I sure hope so. Otherwise, what the heck am I doing showing it off? Nice. We managed to dodge that pretty quickly. Lightning pots, huh? Well, that didn't last long. Any more takers? No? Good. Very good. Now, I believe we have some gravel stones. Very rare material. And 3 rune pieces? Oh, what a treasure trove. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And you know what? It's fitting that Radagon is the one that's overseeing these rune pieces. Now we're gonna go check out this chest. I don't remember what's in it, like, at all. Dragon Bolt Blessing. Ooh. I think I remember this, like, being interesting in vanilla and meh in ERR until, like, within the last 1 to 2 patch cycles. Superior incantation of the capital's ancient dragon cult. Summons lightning to bolster the caster's body. Attacks become easier to deflect, and resistances to all ailments are increased. However, lightning damage negation is reduced. Only those loved by dragons can survive the ordeal of cladding their bodies in lightning. Beautiful. Poetic. We probably won't use it while we're in this state, though. It's a travesty, honestly. Well, we have what we came here for. Let's get out here and get to exploring the other side of this rocky cliff face, then. We have a whole other ruined building, which I think might even be a tomb. We have another grave to pillage and plunder. I love nice shiny treasures. Sweet trinkets. I have to say, although I really like Clearnia, Altus Plateau easily has some of the best views in the game, really. I love the gold in the trees. I love the verdant greenery with its hues of gold. Not all of it is gold. There's a part of it I like even more because it isn't gold. But that can be later, not right now. Well, we might even get to that in like the next couple of episodes. Hello. I think this is a Black Knight Assassin. Alright. I think this is a Black Assassin. Black Knight Assassin. Yep. Good. I marked her just in case all the Black Knife Assassins are female, so I'm not being sexist by saying that. That really is the case. They flat out tell you in the game. I marked her, but as it turns out, we already got one earlier from the boss fight in, oh, which area was it? We had a Black Knife Assassin somewhere in Northern Limgrave, but at the very least, the first time you would absolutely get to spot it is here in the Black Knife Catacombs. There you kind of have no choice except to mark a Black Knight Assassin, a Black Knife Assassin. Jeez. What do you know? When you're right, you're right. Speaking of which, what's everyone's favorite well, not, you know, me wiping my brow and everything. What's everyone's favorite season? Mine is winter, if you couldn't tell or guess. I know, I think my sibling likes, you know, no. It used to be winter. I think mine is probably fall. What can I say? I guess I'm more of the... I like seeing all the pretty fall time colors. And it's cool without being overbearingly cold. I think my sibling's favorite is winter, if I remember correctly. It might also be spring, though. Oh, what stark contrast. It's either the end of the year or the beginning of the year. Which is it, Coin? Coin doesn't know or doesn't remember if he was ever told. He'd have to go ask his sibling again. We're gonna... Oh, we have to go spend this. I'm being silly. We have to go spend this, like, right now. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to the Round Table Hold, go talk to Enya, and see about, you know, what exactly Mr. Fortissax gave us. While we have his remembrance in inventory, let's read. Remembrance of Lich Dragon Fortissax, hewn into the Erd Tree. The power of its namesake can be unlocked by the finger reader. Alternatively, gain a great bounty of runes. All that stuff is generic. Just replace one boss name with another. After Godwyn the Golden became the Prince of Death, the ancient dragon fought long and hard against the death within its companion. Alas, victory was never achieved, and its only reward was corruption. You can't really conquer death. Even a man with an invisibility cloak must soon face the Grim Reaper. and give the Reaper what they are due. Nothing else will do. The Reaper only takes life. The angel, and no matter what you believe, the angel of death, or anything else, there's always some sort of primordial force in which the answer is, I'm glad I found that, in which the only thing it'll take is old, decaying, withered life. I do not think we have 4 out of 10. We don't have enough yet. Otherwise it would have lit up. We have 10. Yep, 10 and 90. That makes sense. So we have Fortissax's lightning spear. And we have death lightning. Let's read these, because we're only going to get to pick... I mean, we can get 2, but they're expensive. Incantation that channels the power of the ancient dragon Fortissax. Creates 2 spears of red lightning and stabs them into the ground from above, one after another. On impact, each spear will burst into trails of lightning covering the area. During the War of the Ancient Dragons, these twin red lightning stakes were the hallmark of one ancient dragon who was called the mightiest boulder stone. And then we have death lightning, incantation that channels the power of the ancient dragon Fortissax, now corrupted by death. Strikes surroundings with a storm of death lightning, yea, inflicts death blight upon foes. Charging extends duration of the storm. It is said that this golden lightning was wielded by Godwyn, who befriended Fortissax. We're going to get Death Lightning. That way we have something in either school source. Let us go spawn some stuff. Then we're going to take our final break. And we'll probably clone this remembrance while we're thinking about it. It's 58 right there. Yeah, so we'll have enough, I think. All right, we're gonna take our break. And when we come back, we'll go find a mausoleum and attempt to get ourselves a nice sweet goodie. Sorry, the stretch. You guys know the drill. 5 minutes on the clock. I'll see you guys after the break. So sorry about that. I am back. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the extended break. I ended up overhearing the Pledge of Allegiance. No, I ended up overhearing an anthem on television, and so I stood for that out of respect. I had my moment of silence. That's it. So it's entirely on me. Oops. Sorry. It wasn't the pledge, I can tell you that much, but it was a different anthem. Alright, we're wanting to head over to the mausoleum. I'm trying to remember if we've already used them up. There are a lot of remembrances. We're gonna find out. There are only 7. No, I think it's either 7 or 12 walking mausoleums. I think it's 7, but maybe there are 12. Yeah, what a non-committal answer. The truth is, Coin doesn't really remember. The last figure he read was, I believe, 7. But, 12 seems just as plausible. The honest answer is, I don't know. Let's duplicate that remembrance and get that other spell. And then what the heck, we'll grind for a level up. That'll probably be fine, right? I mean, we'll have the chance to do so. Wrong place. We'll definitely have the chance to do so while we're in that new tomb. Hello, Enya. No. Here we go. Let's grab this. We don't have any new equipment to speak of. So that's two incantations. I was about to say miracles again. Alright, we've read both of these, but it's just nice to have the inventory. 47 faith is what is required to wield these. 42. 35. 16. 27. Okay, so we can cover the spells for the most part. It's really the catalysts that we have issue with, because if we look at, I feel a hair slinking around in my mouth. Disgusting. If we look around, like, it's the sorceries, because we have 65 as a requirement for full moon. We have a requirement of 35 for Night Comet. We have a requirement of 47 for Crystal Torrent. 42 for Singularity. 32 and 31 required respectively for Creeping Rancor and Ancient Death Rancor. So really, it's just like it's the primordial stuff that's very expensive. So we'll be able to cast most spells with our split build eventually, but right now I'm just taking the time to kind of enjoy the focused build we have right now. You know, if I really wanted to, I could totally optimize this further with better gear, and we can split up the stats so we can go back to the vigor we had in exchange for a couple of extra points in intelligence. I think we're pretty good where we are right now, though. We're gonna, let's see, 154? Well, 154 and how much change? So basically 155. We should definitely be able to find this. In Altus Plateau, here in the Sainted Hero's Grave. I work hard. on these streaming series, so I do hope you enjoy them. I think right now, Mass Effect's kind of been the brainchild, but this is because patrons and subs have asked for it. Speaking of like patrons and subs, you know, if you want a chance to vote on game projects, like right now I'm doing a lot of stuff of my own free will. You know, we aren't really voting on too much, but that'll pick up as we, you know, transition out of old projects that I have on docket into new projects that are decided on. If you want to be part of that voting process, $1 per month. Not $1 per month. I'm sorry. A sustained Twitch Prime sub gets your foot in the door. $3 on Patreon or Coffee gets you into the Discord and gets votes. If you don't care about the voting, which is totally fine, you can just pay $1 and get right in. No questions. And I don't even require continuous payments for that. I only require continuous payments for other stuff. If you want to see the VOD content that will eventually make its way to Coffee and to Patreon, then you know, yeah, you have to pay in for that. But these streams, no, not exactly. Another light and shadow mechanic. And I think I remember this one being particularly insidious. I think we have to, like, kite a boss into it, or like a mini boss into it, so we can kill them. Because we've already bumped into this with the shadow stuff. We can't kill stuff that's shadowy. We need to bring it into the light to kill them. Okay, good. We actually got him. The trick is to just take your time while you're here. The secret is taking your time anytime you're in Elden Ring, but you know what I mean. When you've got enemies just spitting projectiles at you, it's easy to rush. Don't rush. Take your time. Only rush once you know you're able to seize your moment. You know. How... God, I do not miss you. I gotta be stupid amounts of careful. Alright, while I'm here... just gonna turn on that light, and then get to work, I guess. Alright, we can actually damage it with gravitas. Good. I did not miss you. Thing is, I really don't know where I'm supposed to go when... Typically, when they teleport, they go behind you. Or they just go somewhere else. Nice. And they strike really fast, by the way. I'm on the wrong item. Awesome. And, you know, the worst part, we already identified the darn thing. I could have just killed him. That would have been the end of it. Oh well. Live and learn, and I will probably forget it all over again. Nice, nice. Can we even get across that? I don't think you can. Or at least it's not obvious if you can. Okay, just gotta be careful. Oh, this is stupid amounts of precise. Very bad. And your spells won't even hit the darn things. But this is kind of the gentle way to teach you the mechanic. Is we've got these enemies that we can normally kill very well, and we are suddenly unable to do so. I get the feeling that rune piece requires a very intense parkour. And we probably should have wrapped around the other side. I'm gonna give a few goes at this, I guess, but no promises. Can't jump across. You gotta wrap around the sides. Really, I'm not even sure you can do that. Okay, okay, you can do it. Got it. Wow, this is a mean rune piece, though. You're not really meant to be up here. What did Curtifer do to place these? Did they just go, ah, yes. I always wondered about this spot. Can we go up here? We can. You know what I'm gonna do after my first discovery? I, too, am gonna put a collectible up here because I made it up here. I actually have no idea. There's actually... no, I have some idea. That's a lie. So, in the Discord, we have a place, we have a forum thread, which I think is titled Interesting Places to Put Things, or places where we could expect to put something. And I think once I saw, we were floating ideas for, like, consumables and stuff. And some of the consumables ended up getting their own spot, and ultimately some spots are just deemed not really worth it. But I guess now that there's an overhaul progression system in place, it's now actually worth the time to go and go to all those hidden places. We're just gonna go over here. Nice. And then we can kill that revenant on our own time. Gotta check the illusory wall. The illusory walls. People, I used to call them illusionary, but then I realized it wasn't the right root word. I heard someone, and I must have been like 21 or 2 at the time. I heard someone refer to them as illusory walls, and when I went to check the wikis for Dark Souls 2, they called them illusory walls. So I'm like, okay, I've been calling it wrong my whole life up to that point. And then for Dark Souls 3, I vowed to fix that practice, and I did. It took a lot of work to unlearn the word, or unlearn the fake word illusionary, because that is not a real word. That is a faux word. And learn the word illusory, which is a real word. And it actually means something. You can wordsmith anything, though. So, who knows? Maybe illusionary will be a real word given time and forethought. Forethought in which I don't want to spare. Nice. We picked up some soldier ashes. I think these are relatively the same as the other soldier ashes. When I found this my first time, I was really quite scared until I realized what I was fighting. Then once I realized we were just fighting more of these guys, I was like, okay. Come on. I'm standing outside of the shadowy light. You didn't think I was gonna go down easy, did you, Sir Imp? I encourage you to check your assumptions before you go into the door with me. Didn't mean to punch my mic there. While I was on break, I also learned that the AC isn't functional right now. Yay! So that explains why I'm rubbing my brow a lot. Wiping sweat off my furrowed or unfurrowed brow. I don't do well in hot climes. I'm more of a winter person myself. I can tolerate being too cold for a little while. I can't really tolerate being hot for a long time. Even though, from a biological point of view, being hot is somewhat better than being cold. As long as you've got a homeostatic system in place. So if you can't sweat, then being cold is better than being hot. If you can sweat, then they're at least equal, if not, you know, preferences for hot to cold, because you can sweat it out. So we have a bunch of the same sewer zombies we saw earlier. I'm gonna identify you just in case. Yeah, I think we've already got the, you know, codex entry on those. Wow, those have a surprisingly far reach. Goodbye, Sir Zombie. Or Madam Zombie. I don't know. I shouldn't be assuming gender, I guess. And or sexuality. And or someone's, you know, assigned and or perceived sex. None of those. Just use names, people. Use names. Don't use pronouns. I mean, do respect a person's pronouns, but use names. That's way easier. And there's already an embedded tradition to respect names. These days, you have to really work at respecting pronouns. It's easy if you don't know a person. It's hard if you already know them. Takes a lot of time. And you'll often dead name someone a lot until you get it correct. I have personal experience with that. It took me a long time to get used to that person's pronouns and name. But it's worth it. It's worth it. But as a result of me getting used to both, I prefer the name, or I'll just avoid use cases where the pronoun would come up anyway. Better that way, in my purview. Oh, well, hello. So going up was a shortcut. Good, good. So now we can actually head the other direction and discover we had a boss to mini boss to kill. I've also heard a new practice where people just start saying I go by any pronoun, honestly. I don't know how to feel about that. Like, it's their life. That's their business. And with those sorts of people, I would probably tend to default to the name anyway. But I wonder... I'm curious as to what prompts a person to just say, I don't really care. That's usually the kind of thing people do care about, you know? I live with people who do care about it. I know people that care about it. So people just going by any and all pronouns is really something I've only ever heard of in the news. Okay, we're going to get out of there before things get too hairy. We went from having 20 to having about 16. Because I was trying to get the horse, and the horse was not an identifiable creature. Sad to say. So if I remember correctly, up here we have a Royal Revenant. And we have a Shadow Gladiator, which we'll have to identify. Hall looks empty, right? Hall looks empty, right? I promise you it ain't. It ain't empty. Look, right there. See that smoke? If you can stagger the darn thing, and you know it's there, it's easy. But if you're thinking like, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, free item. Nope. You get a revenant to the face, poison, and likely death. I remember watching a like either a stream VOD of Tyrannicon or watching a video of Tyrannicon's playthrough. Oh, and he foamed at the mouth with this thing whenever it is he came here. It's been a while since I've watched Tyrannicon's stuff. I have it in my feed, but I don't pay it much attention for what that's worth. Oops. I have mixed feelings about the man. Ah yes. Look. This room. It's empty. It's poised to look exactly. Wow, I can't believe we found that here. I'm just gonna collect these collectibles. Excuse me, good sir. Now, we have the fun run of getting this thing over to a light source. I believe we want to head this way. And we run. But not too fast or we'll lose the guy. Oh look, we didn't even have to open a lever for this. Yeah, that's right. This is one of the few tombs that actually has the enemy unlock a door, which I think is pretty cool. Oh, and I'd like to point out that you could not speed your way to this. You had to come over here. You had to come up the ladder, and you had to go kite him over. You couldn't have taken the shortcut of a ride with this. You had to do things this way. Oh, now, what do we have sitting at... Oh, we have you. We probably have someone behind one of these stairwells. No? Good. I don't remember what was here. Let's go find out. Nice. Boy, this certainly is a different perspective. Thank you. Ancient Dragon Knight Kristoff and a Smithing Stone 6. Nice. Now, I've got a little bit of a confession to make. That confession is I'm going to be ending today's stream a little earlier than expected. I know. I really want to have these 4 hours with you guys. I really do. But I'm hot, I'm grimy, I'm uncomfortable. It's hard for me to even think. I mean, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna think. But I can only take so much of my hands sweating on my controller. Yuck, gross. I don't want this to be a habit, but I have had to cut streams far earlier, and for far more grave reasons than this. But I don't like streaming when I'm uncomfortable. It's just not a thing I like to do. So that's what I'm going to do. Making an executive decision on that. So, I want to thank everybody for stopping by. Today was rather quiet, but that's to be expected, honestly. So, you guys want ARPGs, right? You guys want, action platformers. I recommend checking out, Cheese Whiz. And give him a shout out. He's a Canadian streamer. He's playing Tears of the Kingdom. And it's been a while since I've been in his streams, but, let's just say, his streams are a really hype place, on average. If you guys are wanting something a little bit more nitty and gritty, grittier than this game, check out Lobos Jr. Lobos Jr. is, I believe, playing Diablo 4. Yep, he's playing Diablo 4. He's got a barbarian build, a barbarian character he's working on. Great, cool, fun stuff. Go check out those two men. And then, of course, you've got Bob Ross, which is spelled exactly as you think it is. And Bob Ross is, of course, based on the shows of Robert Ross. an American military man and painter. So those are the 3 places I can recommend that you go. 2 I'm going to leave a link to. One is more of a commercial streaming account. Go there if you want. Don't go there if you're not interested. If it were part of my 2 recommendations I'd give normally, I would recommend Bob Ross. You've got my word on that. Next time you guys will see me will be, for those of you not in my Discord, you'll see me Wednesday, and we'll be playing some more Mass Effect. Hooray! We've got to finish up stuff at Novaria. That's right. We gotta work our way towards Matriarch Benezia, because that's what we're dealing with on Novaria, and hopefully somewhere along the way we get enough Paragon points to finally get those 2 points in charm. Because that is infuriating to go all that way and require 12 points of charm, or 12 whole talent points of charm. And if you want to play other than min-maxing toward Paragon or Renegade, you kind of get screwed, is basically what it is. But for those of you on my Discord, it's a grand total of 3 people. Very, very small, I know. We will be seeing each other tomorrow. We'll be playing some more Divinity Original Sin. If you want to be part of that Discord, in which you don't even need consistent payments to get into, I've got links. Check them out. They're in the tab. I still don't think I have one prepared for Twitch for Patreon, but it really, you're getting the same benefits between Patreon and Coffee. So honestly, I might split them up 50-50. YouTube folks will probably get Patreon. Twitch folks will probably get Coffee. We could call it good. I'm still thinking on the best way I want to present those 2 platforms. Regardless, thank you guys so much. My name is Coin, or Swirling Vortex, or Steven. This has been another episode of Elden Ring Reforged. I'm sorry I'm cutting it early, but I've already given my reasons for this. You guys are welcome in my hallowed halls anytime. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, and bye-bye.